So, congratulations to New York Liberty for winning the WNBA championship. Did they deserve to win? No. You know what? Over the course of the season, you can make the argument that like they were the best team. Not even you make the argument they were the best team throughout the course of the season. You can make the argument they were the best team throughout the finals. Like game 1, they really threw that one away. That was their own fault. Game 2, they won comfortably. Game 3, the Lynx threw game 3 away. Game 4, an iffy call made on Breanna Stewart. But like at the same time, down the stretch, they just called nothing. Like I don't even think that was. I think there was just one very, very bad call, the Bridget Carlton one on Breanna Stewart. But at the same time, that's one of those ones where you're like, you don't. That's a call where you're like, you don't let the game be decided on that, but it's a foul. Like Breanna Stewart had her two arms wrapped around Bridget Carlton, but it should not have been called. Let's be real. That game should have went to overtime. That should not have been called. But at the same time, it was still like that's just an iffy call. We saw yesterday, Breanna Stewart do the cha-cha slide and just throw the ball at the basket and somehow get free throws to win the game in overtime. Like we saw a rigged game yesterday, and the reality is that the old legacy WNBA people, they are, and I mean this, I actually mean this, like they are worse for the WNBA than anyone else because they treat the league like it's a charity case. They treat the league like it's a charity case. They pretend like they don't. I don't think that they don't understand sports. I think a lot of these people do understand sports. The problem is that the WNBA has been treated like a charity case and not a sports league for so long. They're going to treat it like it's a charity case. The amount of people saying, why couldn't the Lynx, it was the Lynx' own fault, they were terrible in overtime. And I'm like, I'm sorry, when you have a championship won, literally, when you have the championship won, you have the ball, that you see, you're watching the replays on the screen of the review. You see the cha-cha slide. You see the cha-cha slide in real time. And you then see an obvious no foul on Alana Smith. And you're probably there in the huddle being like, yes, we've won. Yes, we've won. We've won. You've mentally checked out. And you might be saying, oh, you play till the final whistle. I'm sorry. How are you meant to prepare for a rig job? How are you meant to prepare for your game being rigged? I'm sorry. Like, that's like saying, oh, the Sacramento Kings, it's their fault. It's actually, you know what? It's not the referee's fault. Let's stop blaming the refs. You know what? The Kings, they should have just won Game 7. They had a chance to win in Game 7. It's not, you know what? The refs rigging Game 6 for the Lakers and it being proven. Imagine saying to the Kings being like, it's your own fault. It's your own fault. You lost Game 7. Like, you had another chance to win. You know what? They deserve to win. They were better in Game 7. I'm just like, well, yeah, you've won the game. You've won the championship. How are you meant to get your head right? And the reality is that the people that are saying this, they know more about basketball than to say this crap. They don't want to annoy the Liberty. They don't want to, I don't know, maybe they've got good relationships with the Liberty players and they don't want to say it's rigged and they want to say like the Liberty deserve to win. Over the course of the season, you can make that argument. And they probably did deserve to win. Yesterday, the Liberty, we watched the game. The Liberty should have been down 15 at halftime. And then what happens going into the half? The Lynx are up, 12? Then we see phantom foul called. We see 2 phantom fouls called in 2 possessions. And these are, by the way, off-the-ball fouls, where people are just getting hands in, just randomly calling phantom fouls, so suddenly the Liberty are on the line. Jonquel Jones just ran through Alana Smith. Alana Smith nowhere near, missed a layup. 2 free throws. And then Courtney Williams, or was it Heidemann, one of them, is coming off a pick and roll. Breanna just shoves her. Travel. And then they come down with another phantom touch foul. And I'm like, they've scored 5 points off these free throws, and you would have put either Heidemann or Courtney Williams on the line. Like, that's a 7-point swing. That's literally a 7-point swing. It's a 7-point game at halftime. Of 90 seconds to end the first half. The reason why this wasn't a 15-point game at halftime was because of the refs. Every single time. And then in fairness, the Liberty pulled it back to start the second half. And I said it, and I'm like, this game could have been over at halftime if it wasn't for the referees. I literally made a thing in the first half saying it. The refs are trying to rig the game. And yeah, I'm wearing a Lynx jersey. I don't care. I will say this right now. The best thing that happened for me personally views-wise is that this game was rigged because more people are watching and more people care. Like, the best thing, I'm going to make decent money the next 2 days. Like, the reality is that this game being rigged is better for me, but it was rigged. We got to be honest here. Like, we've got to be completely honest here. And, like, we can't... You're out here, you're seeing, like, the legacy WNBA people trying to gaslight people, being like, you know what, the Liberty deserved to win that game. They stepped up in overtime. And I'm like, no. Like, you've got a rider from the Athletic. And you've got, like... And this is what I mean. Every single neutral party, as in, not like super involved in the WNBA. Anyone that's not a WNBA rider, a legacy WNBA fan, will call it like it is. Oftentimes, the whole league wants X mark to win. It's just a paranoid taking fans. But the commissioner for the league is to literally wear an NY Skyliner dress game 5. That's not a good look. Like, and the reality is that this is one of the problems for the whole season. And this has been a big problem, whether it's legacy WNBA media or legacy WNBA fans, telling new fans, and by the way, new basketball fans, people watch this game to watch basketball. Like, simply put, this game is going to have probably the record viewership of a WNBA finals of all time. Because it was game 5. Everything in this year culminated up to this point. The fact that it was a garbage game didn't help. But you know what? Even if it was a garbage game, if it was an interesting end to the game and it wasn't rigged, there might be people that would stay on. Because, you know, it's a tense game. It's game 5 of the finals. It's always going to be tense. But, yeah, it's a... I will say, it's really not a, like it's bad. And the fact is, like, again, people went out of their way to watch this game. Basketball fans. People were excited for this game. This is the most excited, I think, a non-Caitlin Clark game has had. People have been for a non-Caitlin Clark game and they watched a game be rigged from start to finish by referees. We watched what should have been a 20-point game. But I'm sorry, every time you get momentum and then the refs just call foul to make sure the game slows down, this was the most blatant rig job I've ever seen. And, like, I might do this during the season or, like, during the off season. Like, I'm gonna make some longer videos. There's not that much to cover. Like, I'm gonna make it like an hour and a half long Caitlin Clark video, like, kind of break down the season. I might make a video breaking down how the referees rigged this game, because this was not just a bad call at the end. And then the game, literally, they tried to do everything they could, and then at the end of the game, Breanna Stewart does the cha-cha slide, does the cha-cha slide, misses, and then the refs blow their whistle, and then the referee has to look with a straight face and say, Alana Smith is not in legal guarding position. She stood there with her hands straight up, and what happened? She got bumped in the chest, so she moved back a little bit, tried to block the ball, hit nothing. Didn't get ball, didn't get man. Tried to block the ball, hit nothing, and Breanna Stewart just missed. She stood there with her hands straight up. People were like, oh, she moved backwards. I'm like, obviously, she got ran through her chest. And that's the thing where it's like, people making those arguments. You've either never played basketball before or you're just trying to gaslight people. And I can't believe I'm in the year 2024 and I've used the word gaslight. Like, you are actually trying to make people believe this crap. And that's the worst part about this, is there's so much things where I'm like, you cannot. And I mean that. You just cannot do this. You cannot do this. It's completely unacceptable. And I'm sorry, like, we watched it with our own eyes. And that's one of the big problems with the WNBA season, is you're seeing old fans, old media, and their whole thing is basically saying what you are looking at is false. Like, they're trying to tell you that, you know what, throughout the whole season, Aces are the best team in the WNBA. Aces. Aja Wilson can do no wrong. And we're like, man, we're watching the Aces. They look like they suck. And then they get killed in the playoffs. Caitlin Clark sucks. Point guard better. Point guard. Caitlin Clark sucks. Like, oh, dude, we're watching the games. And suddenly, she leads a 13-win team to if they weren't screwed out of it, what would have been game 3 against the Connecticut Sun. And the Connecticut Sun brought the Lynx to 5 games. So it's not like those top 3 teams were way better than everybody else or anything. But yeah, it's annoying. It is annoying. And look, the game was rigged. At the end of the day, look, the New York Liberty won a championship. If you had told me who was the best team throughout the year, asked me who the best team was throughout the year, it was the New York Liberty. It was. I'm not going to say that they, in a vacuum, over the totality of the season, didn't deserve to win. They didn't deserve to win last night. And I mean that. They did not even deserve to be within 20 points last night. We watched the game. The only reason, and the amount of people saying oh, it was the Lynx' fault for keeping it close. Man, it was the only reason it was close was because of the refs. The only reason this game was close was because of the refs. In the first place. The only reason it was a 2-point game. The only reason this wasn't over at halftime was because of the refs. And then the referees also made sure as hell that they decided the end of the game as well. The referees made sure this game was close. I was literally tweeting out, I was like, the refs aren't going to let this be a blowout. And people were agreeing. Everyone was like, in the first half, they were like, geez, the refs are going to keep the Liberty in this game. I don't think anyone expected the refs to literally rig the game for the Liberty. But then the fact that we've got NBA players, we've got every neutral, everybody who doesn't watch much WNBA and just tuned in for this game, has the response of, this was rigged. And heck, you've even got Dame Lillard and Isaiah Thomas come out and say it was rigged. But yet you've got these WNBA people who want to treat the league like it's a charity case rather than a basketball league, saying no, you're wrong, this isn't rigged. The team that had a championship stolen from them, should have won. Come on.